Hello, and thank you for watching this regional forecast for the Canadian Prairie. I'm Andrew Pritchard, Senior Meteorologist with Nutrien Ag Solutions. Well, a very typical June temperature pattern in place across the region. We've got warmth trying to build its way back in from the west after this little recent cool down, and we'll see that warmth spreading from west to east across the prairie through the end of the week before we get a little bit of a cool down again as we head into the weekend and into early next week. It's going to be a mostly dry next week. We do have a chance for some light showers in parts of the prairie here, but by and large, the next real chance for significant rainfall is going to hold off for at least at the end of this week into the weekend, and probably not until next week when we transition to what could be at least a slightly more active pattern across the prairie, bringing precipitation to a lot of folks as we get into next week. Temperatures across the prairie right now, generally in the upper single digits or the lower teens. Again, cooler air coming in on the backside of our storm system here. You can see the upper level cyclonic flow here, high pressure in place across the prairie, cooler temperatures making their way in, but we will build a ridge in toward the end of the week, and that's going to allow for a warm up. Got some very light showers across parts of eastern Alberta, kind of stretching along a frontal boundary in this region. Not expecting much in the way of significant precipitation at all from this, but we can take a look at where some of those showers are going to be happening as we head through the next couple of days. Again, seeing those kind of just sitting along and north of Highway 16 in northern and central Saskatchewan as we head through the day today into the overnight. And then as we head into the day on Friday and Saturday, as we head into the weekend, we're going to see a storm system sneaking off to the north, keeping the prairie dry, but allowing some warmth to once again return to the region. So total precipitation between now and midday on Saturday. Again, some very light precipitation possible across parts of central into southeastern Saskatchewan, maybe far southern Manitoba. We're talking about maybe a trace to a couple of millimeters of precipitation here, maybe 5 millimeters on the high side. So again, not totally dry, but we're not talking about significant precipitation as we head through the end of the week. Now the pattern right now, we're kind of in between troughs here across the prairie. We've got this kind of with three upper level waves here stacked in this trough, making its way from central Canada down into the central US. As we head through the next few days, we're going to be, again, building a ridge back into the region between those troughs. This is as we get into the end of the week and the weekend. This will allow for a warm up, but we do have our next trough sitting off the coast right now, and that's going to begin moving into the prairie as we get into the early part of next week. And so again, this will signal a cool down starting in the west, pushing from west to east as we head through next week. It's also going to signal a return to a slightly more active pattern with more in the way of measurable precipitation and thunderstorms across the prairie. So taking a look at temperature trends as we head through the next 7 days, again, you see us starting off a little bit on the cooler side on the backside of our departing storm system. Above average warmth returns to Alberta by the time we get to the end of the week here, Friday and Saturday, with cooler temperatures holding on across Manitoba. And then as we head into the weekend, into early next week, this is when we see that warmth spreading from west to east here. Again, as we head through the weekend, June 13th, 14th, and into June 15th, Monday, this is when we start to transition back toward a cooler pattern in the west. Now we're building that trough back in across western Canada. Warm air feeding in advance of that. It's going to transition us back to a warmer than average pattern across Manitoba and southeastern Saskatchewan as we get into June 16th, 17th, and 18th. And then cooler air once again overspreading the prairie here as that trough begins to anchor in. This is all the way at the end of next week at this point now. So just kind of painting the trends here over the next 7 to 10 days. Let's kind of put the precipitation forecast in with that. Again, just seeing some of those very light showers rotating around the back side of the system here from central Saskatchewan down into parts of central and southern Manitoba as we head through the day today into the overnight and possibly lingering into parts of the day on Thursday. Way down here in maybe the Winnipeg area, some light showers lingering into the afternoon and evening hours on Thursday before high pressure sets in. This is going to bring quieter weather, a little bit of cooler weather, but then as that ridge begins to build in, warm air advection in advance of the next trough. That's going to allow for that warm up here again as we get into the weekend, starting in the west across Alberta here Friday and Saturday, spreading into the rest of the prairie here, Saskatchewan and Manitoba, feeling some of that warmth as we get into the end of the weekend, into early next week. And then here comes our next storm system emerging here with a chance for showers and thunderstorms as we get into the end of the weekend, into early next week. This is here starting on Monday, around June 15th. It does not look to be a soaker at this point, not looking like one that's going to produce, a real robust severe weather threat. Of course, we'll pay attention to that, but then again, additional little systems kind of rotating around that trough, bringing chances for showers and storms as we head into the middle of next week. So by and large, a drier next 5 to 6 days as we get into Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday of next week. once again, we'll be looking at the chance for those showers and storms across the prairie. So total precipitation as we head through the next 7 days or so. Again, some very light precipitation possible here over the next 24 hours as we head through the rest of the day today into Thursday across central, maybe southeastern Saskatchewan, getting into southern Manitoba. And then again, as we just played this year, we're going Thursday, now into Friday, keeping it dry across the prairie, much of the prairie anyway. Sunday, this is when we start to transition here. Let me go ahead and go back. I want to keep this going here. So Friday, here we go, Saturday, Sunday, really not looking at much in the way of additional precipitation. Here it comes late Sunday into Monday now. We see, of course, this is not exactly how it's going to line up. We're 5 days out into the future, 6 days out into the future, but just noticing the overall pattern here. Dry across the prairie as we head through the weekend. As we get to the other side of the weekend, getting into late Sunday, into Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday, some parts of the prairie are once again going to be seeing measurable precipitation and the chance for showers and thunderstorms across the region. So your high temperatures over the next several days climbing into the mid to upper 20s. In Calgary, as we head into the weekend, your warmest day of the next week, Friday, with a high of 27, cooling off on the backside as that trough sets in as we get into early next week. Edmonton, you get one extra warm day there, 26 for the high on Saturday, dropping down to the upper teens to near 20 as we get into next week. Saskatoon, your warmest day on Saturday there, 28. Regina, 28 on Saturday, 26 on Sunday. And then Winnipeg, again, you're a little bit delayed as this pattern progresses from west to east. A couple days longer to get from west to east here, so your warmest day, you peak on Tuesday, a high of 28, but it's a slow climb there, 16 and 17 for the highs on Thursday and Friday, with that cooler air mass sitting in place. Have a great day. We'll talk to you once again on Friday morning.